They built their own sense of importance on the idea that they could rewrite history to suit their needs, leaving you to feel isolated and drained by the constant effort of trying to prove your own sanity. But the moment the undeniable facts came to light, that whole house of cards came crashing down, leaving the deceivers with nowhere to hide and no way to spin their version of the drama they had been stirring up. The psychology of this sudden shift is fascinating because it proves that true power lies in the evidence, even when that evidence is ignored for a long season. Those who once viewed you as an easy target for their social experiments are now finding that their old tactics are completely useless in the face of a permanent record of their behavior. When a manipulative person realizes they can no longer use your kindness or your desire for harmony as a shield for their own bad actions, they begin to feel an immense sense of unease. They start to wonder what else you have seen, who else you are talking to, and why you are no longer bothered by the petty storms they try to brew. This isn't about having a secret master plan. It is about the royal level of composure that comes from knowing that the truth is finally on your side. You stayed classy by not descending into the mud with them, and that silence has created a vacuum that they are desperately trying to fill with their own panicked speculation. By simply allowing the reality to speak for itself, you have managed to flip the script entirely. There is a profound sense of relief that comes when you stop being the person who is always explaining and start being the person who is simply present. You spend years being the one who try to bridge the gaps through other people's logic or protect them from the consequences of their own choices. Now that you are moving with a level of stillness that doesn't require an audience, you are finally free from the burden of having to justify your growth to people who aren't growing themselves. You are moving with a level of composure that makes you look like a veteran of these social struggles, even if you were just a grounded individual who finally reached their limit. The individuals who once tried to micromanage your reputation or gaslight you into doubting your worth are now the ones who are feeling off balance because they can no longer find a way to get under your skin. This elevation is what happens when you decide that your internal peace is a valuable asset that is no longer up for public debate or negotiation with people who don't have your best interests at heart. Watching the social hierarchy reorganize itself in the wake of your new found distance is one of the most eye-opening parts of your personal growth journey. The group that used to be so unified in their attempts to rattle you is now fragmented as individuals begin to worry about their own proximity to the truth you represent. They realize that by trying to undermine you, they were inadvertently showing their own hand, and the fear of being exposed for their lack of character is causing them to retreat into a defensive posture. You stay grounded by focusing on your own path and not letting the news of their irritation draw you back into the mess. This experience has taught you that your value was never determined by their consensus, but by your ability to stay the course when the environment was hostile and confusing. You are the same relatable person you always were, but your armor is now reinforced by the knowledge that you can survive being the outcast. You have won the game of character by simply refusing to lower your standards to match the low-level behavior of those who wanted to see you fail. The reality of your current situation is that you have become a point of stability in a very chaotic landscape, and the people who actually matter are starting to notice your strength. They see that you didn't change your values to fit in, and that you didn't break under the pressure of being unfairly judged or overlooked for a season. This has placed you on a different shelf entirely, one where your presence carries a weight that doesn't need to be announced with a megaphone or a dramatic display of ego. You have successfully bypassed the usual struggles of being confused or manipulated, because you are now operating in a realm where your consistency is your only currency. This elevation is permanent because it is based on the quiet work you did when nobody was watching or clapping for you. You are the strategist who stayed grounded while everyone else was floating away in a cloud of their own social performance and petty agendas. You don't need to be a mastermind to win. You just have to be the only person in the room who isn't lying to themselves about the situation or the people involved. Looking forward, you can see that the road ahead is wide open because you've proven you can handle the heavy stuff without cracking under the pressure of being unfairly judged. The people who are currently in a state of confusion are really just mourning the loss of the control they used to have over your emotional state. But the secret is that you don't even have to look back to keep winning. You just have to stay grounded in the same habits and the same integrity that got you through the years of being underestimated or ignored. This is the ultimate form of self-improvement. Knowing that your greatest weapon is your own consistency and your refusal to participate in low-level drama for the sake of fitting in. You have effectively hacked the social system by being the most observant and honest person in the room. And that is a victory that will continue to pay off for the rest of your life. You don't need to look over your shoulder because you have already shown that you can handle whatever comes your way with class and precision. Every time a toxic person from your past tries to reach out to check in or offer advice you didn't ask for, you can see their motivation with total clarity. They aren't looking to help. They are looking for a new opening to regain their influence, or to see if your boundaries are just a temporary phase. You stay classy by keeping the door shut on anyone who didn't respect you when you were still trying to find your footing in a hostile environment. This experience has turned you into a specialist in human behavior. You can spot a manipulation tactic from a mile away because you've already survived the worst of them. This grounded form of self-defense is what will keep your future bright and your peace of mind intact as you continue to grow and evolve into your highest self. You have moved from a place of being confused by others to being the person who understands the patterns better than anyone else in your circle. And that knowledge is your greatest shield in an unpredictable world. The transition from being a victim of social games to being a witness to them is one of the most powerful shifts a person can undergo. It happens when you stop trying to convince people of your side and simply start documenting the reality of yours. Whether it is through saved messages, logs of interactions, or the literal evidence of your own professional track record, you are no longer relying on their fairness to determine your worth. This grounded approach to life is what makes you so formidable. You aren't fighting with words, but with the weight of the undeniable truth. When the people who were trying to deceive you are finally confronted with the record of their own actions, the silence that follows is the most profound victory you could ever ask for. They are stunned because their primary weapon, their ability to twist the facts, has been permanently neutralized. You can now move forward with the knowledge that your reputation is protected by the most reliable source there is, the objective history of what actually occurred.